And we're back, guys. We're live. I moved yesterday's show, Mr. Energy's Fun Sports, to today, now at noon, 12 p.m. noon Sunday. And the reason I did was because I was getting information, finalizing the Dodger Brave series, getting information on a couple ACC games, college football, and a possible trade for the Miami Dolphins. So, as promised, I'm here. Give you a little bit of recap of what happened. The Hurricanes pulled out a victory against North Carolina State. First victory over a Power 5 team in almost a year, which is incredible when you think about it. They had the losses at the end of the year to North Carolina, which was a blowout, 62-26, and it was just horrendous. The worst defensive performance, allowing over 700 yards. I think it was 770 something yards. It was just a pitiful performance, and over 500 and I believe 59 yards rushing. Again, school records on the negative side. It was awful. Then they went on to lose the bowl game, which they should have won. Drop passes really did them in, and they had their quarterback injured. So to add insult to injury, they lost that game too. Then they lost to Alabama, blowout. They lost to Michigan State, blowout, which was tight until the fourth quarter, until they collapsed again. Lost to Virginia, heartbreaker. They should have made the field goal, but then again, should have got the ball closer for the kicker, freshman kicker. And then the heartbreaker of North Carolina last week, where again they should have won the game or at least tied it and go overtime. They threw the pick and they lost the game. So it had been literally about 320 something days between victories at Power 5. Because when you beat Appalachian State and Central Connecticut State, they're not Power 5 schools, which, like I said before, those are the top 5 conferences. So they only won by 1 point, 31-30, nail biter, but they got the job done. That's number one. Still got a lot of improvement. Still had a lot of missed tackles, but less than the previous games. Still have some drop balls, but less. Finally, we seem to have a number one receiver, Charleston Rambo, Mr. Rambo. He has emerged as the number one receiver without a doubt. He's he's reliable. He's basically an all-American type receiver. He's the number one guy there for the Hurricanes, and establishing a good rapport with the young quarterback. So that is a good positive situation. The other one is that the running back, Knighton, he's definitely the starter. I mean, he became a starter because of the injury to Cam Harris, and he was competing to be number 2 with another great running back, Shaney. But in my opinion, Shaney and Knighton were better than Harris. He just happened to have seniority. Harris is out with an injury, and Shaney's out with an injury. So a lot of people said Knighton was the one that should have been starting. He definitely proved the point. He's got explosive ability, and he doesn't have to come out on third downs. He has great hands, got great moves, almost impossible to cover out of the backfield. So he's proved it. He's taken 2 wheel routes. That's when the running back comes out of the backfield and kind of circles a little bit and then takes downfield. They call it a wheel route. Well, he's got 2 touchdowns, 2 long ones. Yesterday he got 50 plus. I believe it was 53 yards. The week before that he had a 60-yarder. The kid's for real. He can get yards when other running backs can't get yards. Has great vision, great quickness, great ability to make people miss. So I believe going forward, I don't know if Cam Harris is going to return. He's a junior. I don't know if he's going to try to play one more year after the injury, or if he's going to try to go pro. But even with Shaney and the other running backs, the other great up-and-coming freshman running backs, I believe Knighton should be the starter. And, so that's a positive there. Rambo is going to be going to the pros, so they have to develop the young receivers. But first is first. They won the game. Next week is going to be tougher. They did beat a very stout North Carolina State defense, and they did put points. Hats off to Van Dyke. He predicted that North Carolina State could be had through the pass, and bold predictions. Bold predictions. He said that their running the run defense was stout, but they could be had to the pass, and the kid came through. He got 325 yards and 4 touchdowns. Very few incompletes, almost a flawless performance, and critical throws. Beautiful, beautiful strikes. The kid has a gun for an arm, threw a 60-yard bomb. It looked like he could have thrown it at least 10 more yards. I mean, it was effortlessly thrown, and pinpoint accuracy. The clinching touchdown was a dart. Was a beautiful, beautiful play, a dart to, again, Rambo, his favorite receiver. And so what can I say? I think they have the quarterback of the future. I don't know what's going to happen with Jake Garcia, because it looked like they could have had 2 quarterbacks for the future. Jake Garcia injured his ankle, so now, you know, he's a true freshman. Van Dyke is a red freshman. That means Van Dyke has at least probably 2 more years after this to play for the Canes. I don't know if Garcia is going to want to sit for a couple years, and or if he's going to want to transfer now with the transfer portal. It will be interesting if they give Garcia a chance to compete. He's more mobile, but the way Van Dyke is playing right now with the accuracy, I don't know. I guess that's a good problem to have, right? When you have a excess of talent at a position such as a quarterback, which is really, really the #1 position in any team. Now, to talk about the other young players, there are a lot of young players that are flashing talent, but I still see a lot of mistakes, and you know, that comes with being young. But they need to, they need to coach them up, and I don't know. Might have to make some changes in coaching. I still think Manny Diaz is not the man. He might have saved his job with this performance, but now they got the Panthers coming up, Pittsburgh Panthers, where they're probably even tougher than North Carolina State. I don't know how they will do in that game. I really think that, and they got to go to Pitt, play in Pittsburgh. It might even be cold. You know, let me see. It's going to be just before Halloween. So I don't know if the Hurricanes can lay a Halloween thumping on or a sneak out of victory against the Panthers. It could get ugly. It could get really ugly and torturous for the Hurricanes up there playing probably in the cold in Pittsburgh. 30th of October against the Pitt Panthers. So we'll see if they can pull out somehow by some miracle victory there. The last 4 games of the season are more winnable, and I guess in a dream scenario they could end up 8-4 and either challenging for the Coastal and the ACC title and playing for the championship, which that's a pipe dream, or making a decent bowl game. But next is Pitt. We'll see what happens. I mean, I didn't think they could beat North Carolina State when I saw some of the same old problems. Another big problem that they seem to have they can't get a hold of is the penalties. Wow, very undisciplined team between the drop balls, the missed tackles, and the penalties. One bright spot was Cam Kitchens, the defensive back Kitchens. He, for all intents and purposes, he saved the game with a tackle. It was open field tackle 1-on-1, and he did tackle. So they can. They just need to work more. Maybe he should be the instructor for tackling and teach the other players. But again, a win is a win, and we'll see what happens. Pitt is the only undefeated team in the Coastal. So if Miami were somehow to get a victory, there will be only 1 game behind. And then anything can happen. If they end up tied with Pitt and they beat them, they would take it. Again, it goes back to those 2 missed opportunities. It could have been 3-0 right now. A missed kick when he put everything on a freshman guy, even though it was only a 33-yarder. He should have tried to get a little closer, not do those dumb run up the middles that don't work. Try to get at least 5-6 more yards. That kick would have definitely gone in because it hit the upright. And talk about luck and being unlucky. Yesterday, it almost cost us. The kicker from North Carolina State hit the upright, except that his ball bounced in. And ours bounced out against Virginia. So go figure. You know, there's a bit of luck involved in these games. And again, the interception the week before against North Carolina when they basically thought that they were lost, that we were going to win. And they get the tip, and, we were about to score. So that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Sometimes you got to be lucky. You got to be lucky. And now I want to move on to being lucky. The Atlanta Braves are certainly lucky. I'm wearing my blue, so you can see, blue shirt. Big Dodgers fan, go Dodger blue. I don't think the best team won. I think the Dodgers is the best team. Obviously, there were 18 games better than the Braves do in the regular season. So, I mean, when you're 18 games better and you're playing in the same National League, playing the same teams, and you're 18 games better, then that shows that you're a better team. But in a short series, a 7-game series, not always does the best team win. Like I was telling my good friend and family member, Bachelor, wearing the blue, like my good friend Bachelor. Anything can happen in a short series. I've seen it many times before. I would say 70 or 80% of the time, the best team wins. Sometimes, I mean, the Dodgers got hit with injuries. Turner, great player, Turner. He's money. He's he's a guy that you can count on to get you those RBIs and those homers, critical situations, make the plays. Turner's out. And then they had the injury with a great pitcher, Schulzer. I believe, I don't want to butcher his name, but I think it's Scherzer or Schulzer or something like that. I can't pronounce his name, but the great ace. And, he was supposed to pitch in this past game last night. They weren't awful pitching, but, they did give up 4 runs in a tight game like that. Sometimes 2 or 3 runs wins the game. So they needed a pretty much a shutout or a 1-run game to win 2-1. Hats off to Rosario. He hit that 3-run jack. And the Braves in general. The Braves outpitched the Dodgers and outplayed them, out-hit them in critical situations. I think if it would have gone to a Game 7, the Dodgers would have pulled it out. But it is what it is. Hats off to the Braves. It should be an exciting series. The Braves have pitching. They have decent hitting. Not as good as the Dodgers, but they have hitting. Clutch hitting. And pretty good defense. I would say excellent defense and great pitching. And pitching wins. And they're going to be going up against Astros. I think the Astros are more talented. You can't say that they got there by cheating like they said before. They just got a lot of talent. And they got players like Altuve that are just, he'll kill you many ways, stealing bases, taking the extra base, hitting homers. A little guy can thump for a 5'4", 5'5", whatever he is guy. And they got a lot of hitters. And they got pitching. They got everything. I think the Astros are better, but then the Braves, who knows? They're hot. So it could be either one. I really don't have. I have to look at more the performance. I have to go back study, not only doing what they did, but during the playoffs, analyze everything, and I'll give you a prediction by maybe the middle of next week. But again, congratulations to the Braves and the Houston Astros, Atlanta Braves and Houston Astros in the World Series. Now moving on to the NFL. I think the Dolphins are probably going to pull the trigger on Deshaun Watson. It's kind of worrisome because they has like 22 charges against them, or not accusations against them of possible sexual misconduct. I don't know how many of those are made up. Apparently with massage parlors, I don't know, he didn't pay, or maybe he got too rough with the women. I don't know if any of that is real or not. The thing is, a lot of charges, and they said a couple agencies are involved, not only the regular local police, but maybe the FBI and a couple, from what I've heard. So if the Dolphins were to make the trade, they could end up losing a lot and not getting anything back. If he's not able to play, he could get suspended this year by the NFL. Or let's say that the season's lost for the Dolphins this year. I mean, they're 1-5. They're looking awful. But maybe even worse, he could be suspended for next year. All of part of next year, which I'm sure the Dolphins are thinking that maybe next year they could somehow start good, not a terrible, season. So they could get hit. If they do make the trade, they could get hit with a suspension. He could get hit, Deshaun Watson this year or next year, which ultimately might be worse. But the thing is, I think the Tua ship has sailed. I think that Tua could have been successful, but they would have had to stack a team. I mean, they would have had to have a great offensive line, great defense, great running game, because Tua is more of a complementary player. He's not gonna be a guy that's just gonna take over the game like Deshaun Watson can. He's not gonna be a guy that's gonna maybe rush for 50, 60, 70 yards in a game and then throw, for 300, 400 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns. He's not that type of player. He doesn't have the accuracy. He has a great accuracy, but he doesn't have the accuracy of Deshaun Watson. He doesn't have the legs of Deshaun Watson to run, get yards, pick up critical first downs, escape sacks, move the pocket, throw on the run. He's not that type of quarterback. Deshaun Watson is one of the best, probably top 5 talent-wise in the league. He can take over a game. But again, how much will the Dolphins have to give? They were saying that they might have to give up 3 number ones and a couple number twos. You're basically not going to have much of a draft in the next couple of years if you do something like that. Unless they're willing to just restructure a lot of players, cut a lot of players, and start signing free agents till they're able to draft early again, a couple of years down the line. I don't know what they're going to do. The other thing is, I don't know if there's any guarantees that if Deshaun Watson gets arrested and has to serve any jail time or gets suspended, if then that day the Dolphins could take those picks back. I don't know. But apparently, from my sources, it's hot and heavy, and it could come down any second. I think the trade deadline, I believe, is about November 2nd, so it should be in the next week or so. Maybe the Houston Texans are getting desperate also to move him, so maybe they'll ask for less. We'll see. I wouldn't give more than a first rounder, maybe a first and second, because the thing is, there's a good chance that he's going to be suspended. Now, I don't know if they want Tua back in the trade. To get Tua back in the trade, maybe we can, he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not an all-star. Maybe Tua and I don't know, one of our receivers for a couple of picks. We'll see what happens. But see, this all could have been avoided if we would have drafted better. We had a lot of picks, and I'm not putting this on our coach Flores. I'm putting it more on Chris Greer, the general manager. I mean, usually general manager is the one that has the most pull, the draft picks, with input from the coach. I don't think Flores is like a Don Shula type that basically told the general managers who to pick. I think that Greer, and maybe to some extent the owner, though owners don't make these decisions, but they give their input, it's their money. They were just fixated on Tua, all the numbers in Alabama and the championship and all that. When they had Justin Herbert going right after, in the 6th pick overall. Tua was the 5th pick overall. Herbert was the 6th pick overall in last year's draft. And what happened? I mean, Herbert was pretty much rookie of the year, I believe. And if he wasn't, he should have been, but I think he was. And now this year, he's tearing it up. He's probably in the top 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks in the league right now. And the ceiling's the top for him. I mean, he can reach the stars. He could be all pro, great career. I mean, the kid is awesome, and he was right there behind. We could have had him, but we went with Tua. And again, Herbert is a lot bigger, a lot stronger, a lot faster, better arm. Might not be as accurate, but then again, you got in NFL, you got to be able to throw that ball. You got to be the windows are small. You got to have a rocket arm. Very hard to throw the ball if you don't have a strong, solid arm, and just a better overall talent. He's almost as accurate. He's got a better arm. He's bigger. He's stronger. He can run. He can get away from pressure. He can throw in the run. Again, and even Tua, to be fair to him, he might not be 100% coming out of college with that horrible hip injury. And then this year he gets his ribs fractured. Again, he's decent. He could even be good in the right circumstance, but he needs a great offensive line. He's not the type of quarterback that's going to dominate Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, or even Herbert, Herbert going forward. Those type of players that are do-it-alls. I remember back in the day when Mr. Energy was young. I remember Joe Montana and quarterbacks like that. Didn't have the arm of Marino, but was more complete because he could run and throw. And nowadays, sadly, you need quarterbacks that are mobile. So, again, you hear it here. I think they're going to pull the trigger. If I have my druthers, if I call the shots, I think Greer's job would be pretty much in jeopardy, and replace him with another general manager, because he's flopped. I mean, the last year's draft was pretty much a flop. All those offensive linemen that we got in the first 2 rounds, they're drafted to play certain positions, and now they're searching what positions they're going to put them in because they're flops. When you get a first round offensive lineman, usually offensive linemen will go in the first round unless they're sure bets. They can't miss. Usually they take them down the line. They usually, first round is for quarterbacks, sometimes running backs, sometimes receivers, edge rushers, the guys that sack the quarterback. Those guys, impact type players that they call. But again, we all know, if you know football, the games are won in the trenches. You got to have a good offensive line, good to great, if you're going to make the Super Bowl and hope to win it. And you got to have a great defensive line, especially guys that can sack the quarterback and put pressure. Well, Miami flopped big time. I don't know if these players are going to be average, maybe good. I don't think any of those linemen that they picked are going to be great, because usually when you're great from from the moment you start. I mean, there's always a chance to improve. Maybe they get better coaching, but they flopped on those linemen, and they definitely flopped on Tua when they had Heber just behind. They could have picked him at 6. So again, somebody should answer for that. If you're the guy making the picks, I think you shouldn't be there anymore, because you definitely did, especially when you have that many picks. Last year was ridiculous. They had like 3 of the top 50-something picks, and if you miss on all of them, what does it say about your talent evaluation? Yeah, the Dolphins need to make a move on that. I think they could have had a great team last year. I mean, they went from 5 wins in 2019 to 10 teams. They doubled to 10 wins. They doubled their win output. So they were expecting this year at least another 10, maybe 11 wins, and they're 1-5. They're lucky to end up, 500 at 8-8. There's a pretty good chance they're going to end up with maybe 5, 6, 7 wins. So it's a hit. It's a big hit for them. I will see what happens if they do pull the trigger and make the trade for Deshaun Watson. He might get him to 500. I don't know. They have a whole lot of holes. It seems like the team is getting worse. Some of the problems, the ironic thing, some of the problems they have is similar to the Miami Hurricanes: missed tackles, missed blocking assignments, drop passes, critical penalties, especially when the game's on the line. So we'll see what happens. Winning is contagious. The Hurricanes might get lucky and go on a run. I don't know. Hopefully the Dolphins get lucky and go on a run, and we'll see if they do the trade for Deshaun Watson. Again, finally, to wrap it up, congratulations to the I still got the Dodger blue. I was going to say the Dodgers. Well, congratulations to the Dodgers in a great season, and the Giants and the Rays as well. We had 3 teams go over 100 victories. We had Giants 107, the Dodgers 106. A lot of people would say those 2 teams should have faced up in the World Series, but that's not the way it works. They're in the same division, the same conference, the same league. The National League, and then the same division. So, they had to match up. They had that 1-game playoff, which was exciting. The Dodgers won. So, 117 win team went down. Their second highest win total, the Dodgers 106. They moved on. I thought they were going to be representing the National League in the World Series. They're the reigning champions from last year. But so be it. Atlanta got hot at the right time. Hats off to Rosario. He did him in with a 3-run jack, and it is what it is. The other team was the Rays. I thought I had a feeling it might be the Rays and the Dodgers in the World Series. Well, I picked wrong. The Rays have an outstanding team. They have all that pitching, and I thought it was going to be the Rays and the Dodgers. Well, I was wrong. We have Houston, and we have Atlanta. Atlanta's playing good at the right time, and pitching, defense wins games. Getting situational hitting. Maybe they don't have that great lineup, but they have pressure hitters. And what can you say about Houston? Houston's got the hitters, the pitching. Maybe they got a chip on their shoulder to prove that they can win without stealing signs. We'll see. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if the next couple days we hear some big changes. I don't think Manny Diaz is still safe. It's safe now after that win. I think he might have to win out. I think he might have to win the Coastal and win a bowl game to save his job. But again, depends on if Miami wants to do a buyout and spend money on a better coach. We'll see. It's a great start, though. We'll see what happens. And then I think the Dolphins are going to have changes. Whether they make the Deshaun Watson trade or not, I think some changes are going to be made. Especially with Stephen Ross getting older in his 80s. I think he wants to win now. He can't... You can't expect that he's going to be around for another 15, 20 years. I mean, it could happen, but I think he wants to win now. So the next time, remember, tomorrow is 10 p.m. and lunes de fuego. Monday's on fire at 10 p.m. tomorrow at Edgardo Rubio. En arroba Edgardo Rubio. A las 10 p.m. mañana, lunes de fuego. Arroba Edgardo Rubio mañana, lunes de fuego. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. Monday's on fire. Edgardo Rubio. But today, it's been just me, Mr. Energy, Larney. Too much drinking, too many Guinness. He's out. He's not going to be on. Manny was partying with Larney. And I had Ulysses P. Coleman was doing running. hasn't gotten back yet. So it's just me here taking a walk and basically talking about the Canes, talking about the Dolphins, talking about the playoffs. And again, one more time, congrats to the Astros and the Braves. Bachelor, man, I still think that, just like you, I still think that the Dodgers are the best team, but so be it. Well, salute to the Dodgers. They're the reigning 2020 champs. We'll have a new champ this year. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good Sunday. Enjoy yourselves. Bye.